Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whether you're watching this from. This is my Mexico Grand Prix review and my Brazilian Grand Prix predictions for in this Formula 1 season. And yeah, we will start off with the review in Mexico, where we saw Lando Norris dominate the Mexico Grand Prix. Sensational weekend, to be fair. Lando Norris, sensational that time. Very quick, rapid in qualifying. And in terms of the race start, it was still a bit iffy from Lando Norris in terms of his race start, but he managed to be ahead. And once you were ahead, once Norris was ahead, that was it really. Let's be real. Especially with the car he's got as well. And obviously it was the perfect weekend, wasn't it? As Lando Norris is now the new championship leader. Well, regains the championship lead by 1 point over Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen. Really am shocked by Max Verstappen not having a great weekend in Mexico, really. It was more damage to invitation in the race for Verstappen after the struggles in qualifying. And so Max Verstappen's now, 36 points behind. Still doable. Still doable for Verstappen, but he knows what needs to happen now. He probably does need... The thing with Verstappen is, Verstappen's not done that at DNF. That's the positive about Max Verstappen. He's not done that at DNF from now to the end of the season. I still believe both McLarens will get one more DNF each, in my opinion. And all of a sudden, that will be what? Take 25 points away from the 36 points. That will be what, 11 points? And then stay him on for Verstappen. And it could have been even better for Max Verstappen, couldn't it? Obviously, the whole virtual safety car shambles at the end. Far too late, the virtual safety car. Far too late. Came at the one time for Max Verstappen. If anything, the virtual safety car should have probably came out a bit more earlier. If anything, I don't even think the virtual safety car should have even came out. Let's be real. Because Carlos Sainz was in the safety zone, wasn't he? He was on the safety zone. He parked it right into the gap of the barriers, and yeah, it was fully safe. So yeah, to be fair, the whole weekend it was the whole race. It was an FIA shambles, which we will get onto in terms of the talking points. And yes, let's go into it then. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, the Turn 1 onwards incident. Rivalries renewed. The rivalry reunited between the two of them in the Turn 1. Max Verstappen dive bomb on Lewis Hamilton into Turn 1, which I felt should have been a penalty for Verstappen, if I'm being honest with you, because when he did that dive bomb on the inside of Lewis Hamilton, he didn't give Lewis Hamilton any space at all, and Hamilton had to do it onto the tracks, or onto the curve. Did Lewis Hamilton deserve a penalty? Yes, he did. Lewis Hamilton did deserve his penalty because he went onto the one-off area, didn't he? While the two of them were still battling on after Turn 1. Lewis Hamilton went onto the one-off area. Well, he didn't go onto the one-off area. He went on... If he would have went onto the other side, I think Lewis Hamilton would have been fine in terms of the penalty, with no penalty. But it was a deserved penalty for Hamilton because he ran off and went onto the tracks. And Lewis Hamilton, I don't think he deserved 10 seconds. That's what I will say on that. I think 10 seconds was very harsh. I thought it should have been at least 5 seconds, in my opinion. The problem for Hamilton was he didn't give the position back. Yeah, he didn't slow down when he did one off. He just continued going, which is why he did that 5-second penalty. And that's for me, that is really, really poor from Ferrari themselves, not to warn Lewis Hamilton, not to be on the radio to Lewis Hamilton and say slow down or give the position back. And really is poor from Ferrari, but it's not a shock with Ferrari, is it? Is it? The whole team's a shambles. Let's be real. And for me, I felt both of them should have got penalties, in my opinion. I felt Verstappen should have got a 5-second penalty for his dive bomb on the inside. Didn't give Hamilton any space at all, and Hamilton had to go onto the curb. But that's Max Verstappen for you. He closes the door, doesn't he? He does close the door. And that's why I like him. That's why I like Verstappen. He don't care. He closes the door. And you could also say Hamilton could have easily backed out of it as well. But yeah, but that's my thoughts on that. Charles Leclerc, for me, should have got a penalty from the race start, right from the race start, where for cutting across the class and opening up, and should have given the PS back to Hamilton. Again, quite similar to the Verstappen Hamilton incident, but actually not that similar because Charles Leclerc went off to the quads, cut across the quads, and for me, that simply wasn't right. He should have really given Lewis Hamilton the PS back, in my opinion. People will say Charles Leclerc was ahead, but let's be real, he went on across the quads. And it certainly wasn't Lewis Hamilton's weak race, was it? It certainly wasn't. I do feel like Fins went against Hamilton, if I'm being honest with you. And I felt Charles Leclerc should have got a penalty as well. But he didn't. Messy team orders between Russell and Antonelli. Really was messy, wasn't it? Messy team orders. Couldn't believe what I was watching. George Russell should be the number one driver at Mercedes, with all due respect to Kimi Antonelli, because he should be George Russell. And I felt George Russell should have listened to George Russell when Russell said, tell Antonelli to basically move out of the way, because he had Oscar Piastri on his backside, basically. And Russell team radio was quite good, wasn't it? It was quite good. just the way he said, "I've got on McLaren off my backside." And Anthony, he should have moved out of the way for Russell, in my opinion. But this is what I'm saying then. With all these fancy lineups that we're seeing in F1 with Norris and Piastri, Kimi Antonelli is definitely a huge talent. It's a massive talent, and Kimi Antonelli and George Russell are again going to be two drivers wanting to be number one at Mercedes. I don't think it's as bad as Norris and Piastri. I think Anthony SF's been number two, and George Russell being like the mentor. But for me, he should have let Russell by. And if he would have let Russell by, I actually think George Russell would have probably finished up maybe 1 or 2 PS higher. He certainly would have finished above Berman, in my opinion. And but yeah, very messy team orders. This is another interesting topic. Is Oscar Piastri now getting sabotaged by McLaren? For me, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, well, Lando Norris dominated the Mexican Grand Prix, and Oscar Piastri only managed to finish 5th. Something's not right, let's be real. Because if you look at, with the car Piastri's got, he should be at least on the podium with that car, in my opinion. He should be as quick as Norris, in my opinion. I just think it's a huge coincidence that Oscar Piastri's performances since his win at Zandvoort have now chopped off massively. And you think to yourself, that is quite interesting, isn't it? It is quite interesting. And Norris has gained points on Piastri as well since Zandvoort. We had the whole Monza shambles as well, where they told Piastri to get Norris by and talk about what happened in Hungary last year and all that. If I was Piastri back then, I would have said, "Nah, fuck off." Honestly, I would have. I would have said, "Fuck off." Sorry for swearing, but you're fighting for a championship. But this is the thing about McLaren. It's all happy around the campfire. Everyone hold hands. Everyone hold hands, as I keep saying, around the campfire. Stew cooking in the pan. It wouldn't stop me if they wearing smots as well. The thing with McLaren have become a woke team now. That we have. After every race, they're doing their own race reactions with Andre Steyer or Zach Brown interviewing both drivers. Oh my god, it's so cringe, honestly. Absolute load of nonsense. It really is. Load of nonsense. I mean, what's that all about? You don't see other teams doing that. But that's the thing about McLaren. It's all happy around there, isn't it? All happy. And I did tell people it would end in tears, the Norris Piastri partnership, and it would end in tears for one of them. And unfortunately for Piastri, it's going to end in tears for him because I'm looking at the title race now. I actually think you have to say it's probably between Norris and Verstappen. Piastri is obviously still well in it. He's only 1 point behind Norris, for God's sake. But if you look at the remaining tracks, also Piastri's not done well, has he? But then that's last season, isn't it? This is this season. Apart from Tatar, also Piastri does well at Tatar, doesn't he? I think he won the sprint race in 2023, I think it was. Albeit Lando Norris obviously had to move out of the way. Obviously, a final corner and final lap to allow Piastri to win it. Piastri does well at Tatar, but the other tracks, the struggles will continue for Piastri. And it's quite similar. It is quite similar to 2010, isn't it, with Mark Webber? I want it that Mark Webber is also Piastri's manager, and Mark Webber will have done experience of this as well in 2010 when he was in a title race with Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. And Sebastian Vettel was then all the priority at Red Bull. So Mark Webber is actually one of the most unluckiest drivers not to win a world championship. And I would say Mark Webber would be a positive influence on Oscar Piastri. He can talk about his experience as well. The thing is, though, this ain't done last on this relationship with Piastri and McLaren. I'm telling you right now, Oscar Piastri will be done. He will be done in 2027. Trust me, in my opinion. Whether he'll go to Ferrari, be the number one driver at Ferrari potentially, I could probably see that. I think this one be a swap deal. Piastri for Charles Leclerc. I think Charles Leclerc will suit McLaren because Charles Leclerc, he's another one like Lando Norris that Charles Leclerc will fit right in with that happy campfire. Happy campfire and all that. And we've seen that at Ferrari as well. At McLaren, it's Lando Norris F1. Lando Norris is in charge of McLaren. Charles Leclerc is in charge of Ferrari. And it would just be perfect, wouldn't it? Norris and Charles Leclerc, all happy. They'll certainly win the constructors with that partnership. Two quick drivers, but they certainly won't win the drivers' championship, in my opinion. But enough on that topic. And finally, career best performance for Ollie Berman. He's a who's talent, isn't he, people? Massive talent. He's done a superb job this season, especially in that Haas car. The performances he's put in. But did his own team rob him of a podium by pitting him? I think they did. I actually think Ollie Berman could have been on for a podium if they didn't pit him. But it's all if, buts, and maybes, isn't it? All if, buts, and maybes. Then it's Max Verstappen, though. Verstappen would have been chasing him down. So Berman could have actually got a podium, potentially. I do feel Haas robbed him of a podium by pitting him. They sort of just kept him out, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah, still fantastic performance, fantastic race performance from Berman. Very good weekend for him, and yeah, and he's shown why Ferrari. He's shown why Ferrari are looking. Ollie Berman's done be a Ferrari driver in 2027. I can guarantee that. If anything, I actually think Ferrari will go for a Kimi Antonelli Ollie Berman partnership because I think Ferrari will want an Italian driver as well. And I think George Russell, if George Russell, Mercedes expected to be the fastest car this year, and if George Russell wins the 2026 Drivers' Championship, that will probably mean Anthony will probably leave because George Russell will still remain the number one driver over there. So I can see Anthony and Berman at Ferrari, and then I just think that's a recipe for disaster, having both of them. Both of them will want to be number one drivers, in my opinion. So, but yeah, Ollie Berman is definitely going to be a Ferrari driver. I actually think Ollie Berman is that talented. He is that talented for me that he should be the number one at Ferrari. Oh, just look at the performances he's putting in at Haas already. It's similar to what Charles Leclerc did, didn't he? What Charles Leclerc did at Sauber. The problem with Charles Leclerc was he just had the one teammate, didn't he? He had Sebastian Vettel, who wanted to still be number one driver at Ferrari. It's a nightmare having two drivers who want to be number one. So they would need to get that right. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz worked, didn't it? That did work. Carlos Sainz was happy to be number two to Charles Leclerc. But Ferrari just made that stupid mistake by going for Lewis Hamilton. Instead of going for Ace and Newey. If Ferrari would have had Leclerc and Sainz with Ace and Newey building that car, I actually think Ferrari would actually be winning the constructors this year. But yeah. But what do I know? So what does it mean? Momentum is obviously with Lando Norris. I'm sorry, I think it is. The momentum is with Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Piastri doesn't have that momentum. Piastri's struggles will continue because Brazil, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi, road trip circuits where Piastri does struggle. Piastri's only choice will be Qatar, in my opinion. And Max Verstappen is still in it, but yeah, it's still a bit asked for Verstappen now. Lando Norris is definitely favourite now to win this title. And but yes, we will. It just takes, like I said earlier, it takes one DNF from one of Norris and Piastri, and it's game on for Verstappen. Because yes, we will. Verstappen does well in Brazil. I think Verstappen will do well in Brazil because it's a sprint weekend. Verstappen will do well in Qatar as well because again, it's a sprint weekend. He does well at Abu Dhabi as well, doesn't he, Verstappen? It's just Las Vegas, isn't it? That could be a problem for Verstappen. Cool conditions. I think the McLarens will struggle at Las Vegas with the cool conditions. Las Vegas is made from Mercedes, isn't it? Let's be real. It is made from Mercedes. And obviously Esteban Ocon, he did well as well. Obviously, Berman's teammate, Ocon having a solid race, and Borsetto getting the points as well. So, good race, good weekend for him as well. then in the points. Which is momentum, isn't it, for Borsetto, done into his home form 3 in Brazil, which we will get onto now. 7th of November, practice 1 on the Friday, half 2 to half 3 in the afternoon. This is all UK schedule. There's only one practice session, sprint qualifying on the same day, half 7 to half 6 to 7. Saturday, the 8th of November, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. On the same day, obviously for the sprint race, and on the same day, the actual qualifying, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and obviously the race start on the Sundays, 5 p.m. So the iconic Autodromo Jose Carlos Paseo onto Enseados, Brazil accident, is a circuit F1 circuit, classic F1 circuit with old school features and charm aplenty. But don't take his vulnerable words, and obviously I need to read that then. Oh, good hell. Where was that? Old school features and charm aplenty, but don't take his vulnerable words as a sign of an easy one, with a very rough surface, twists and corners, and final straight, which practically demands battles. No speed tolerance crucial. Front and top speed and DRS effectiveness is also recommended, and it favours cars with balanced stats. Part on straight and part twists and seams of corners is a circuit of two halves, with which will require equal levels of confidence to master. A one-stop pit strategy may be tempting, but you need to be spot on with your tyre management, as the hard surface takes its toll. The time lost in maintaining your tyres may be better spent in the pit. The penultimate sprint of the season, Interlagos could be your last chance to push and gain some extra points, especially if you're in the title race as well. Any point will be crucial now. The corner coming into the final straight can be WPS to puts, but be sure you can maintain any gains as you quickly be hitting another straight and DRS on. What I will say on Brazil is unpredictable conditions as well in terms of the weather, because it can either be dry or it can either be wet. Like we saw last year, where Max Verstappen pulled off that amazing win from 17th to 1st in the wet conditions as well. The circuit type balance, circuit fastness high, circuit M 4.309 10 meters, first Grand Prix 1973, number of laps 71, race distance 305.879 10 meters, the record set by Valtteri Bottas with a 110.539 in the Mercedes in 2018. Safety car chance is 67%, pit end time loss is 23 seconds. There is 15 turns around the Brazil circuit, overtaking opportunities at the on-start finish straight and turns 3 to 4. And obviously, this circuit's got that famous up the hill, hasn't it? Where we saw Lewis Hamilton overtake Timo Glock to win his first World Championship in 2008 in dramatic fashion. So, in terms of my predictions for this weekend, then, this is all going to be quite similar in terms of the sprint and the actual race. The sprint pole prediction, I think Lando Norris will be the quickest in qualifying, but I do think Max Verstappen will get more of the joy in the sprint race and the actual race as well. I don't think Verstappen, Norris and Hamilton as the podium, with Charles Leclerc, Piastri, Russell and Antonelli and Borsetto then in the points in the sprint. And qualifying pole prediction, Norris again. But again, same with the race, I don't think Max Verstappen to win. Lando Norris second, Charles Leclerc third, Hamilton fourth, Piastri fifth. Russell safe. I've done for Berman, Borsetto, Sainz and Alonso to get in the points as well. Berman's more of a race driver, isn't he? In that Hats, we see the Hats do well in races, don't we? And yeah, but I think Lando Norris will be quickest in qualifying and sprint qualifying. But I think Max Verstappen, he does well in sprint weekends, doesn't he? We saw in Austin, Texas, he won the sprint and he won the actual race. And I think he's going to do the same here. I think Verstappen's done a win in, especially when it's a hard service as well. I think Verstappen will manage the tyres more better than Norris. I think Norris on that hard surface, he'll probably use his tyres up more than Max Verstappen. So I think Verstappen will win the sprint and win the actual race. I think Piastri's struggles will continue. And but I still think Lando Norris will do well round here, despite I think he'll use his tyres up as well. So that is my Mexico Grand Prix review and my Brazilian Grand Prix predictions. Feel free to leave your thoughts on everything I spoke about down below in the comments, and I will see you all for the Brazilian Grand Prix review. And I will be doing my Las Vegas predictions at the same time as well. So, will Lando Norris continue his momentum and extend his lead in the Triumph Sunset? Can he handle the pressure, Lando Norris, now? Because there will be pressure on Norris now. Now he's a championship leader. Could that work in Piastri's favour now that he's no longer the leader? And will Max Verstappen shine in Brazil once again? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.